Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be making a nice tasty fried snack, and I'm going to be making some Channa Bara today. Now, instead of using the grind dal or the grind split peas to put together my bara or these fritters, I'm going to go ahead and use some chana or chickpeas that I have soaked and ground. This recipe might be a little bit easier for everyone at home who might not be able to find split peas at all of their grocery stores, so go ahead and give this recipe a try and let me know what you think. These were super flavorful, super fluffy, and nice and crispy on the outside. And if you want to see how to put together an amazing mango sour recipe, I have that on my channel as well. I also have a tamarind sour recipe on my channel as well. So let's get into it. Now the first thing that I'm going to do is grind my chana or my chickpeas. These are just chickpeas that I've had soaking overnight, and after I soaked them overnight, I went ahead and drained them, washed them off, and now I'm going to blend them up with a little bit of water. All of the ingredients and the proper measurements will be left in my description box right below this video. Make sure you check that out so you have everything ready when you want to make this recipe. So at this point, we're going to start the mixing process. So in a large bowl, I'm going to go ahead and add in that ground chana that we made earlier. Remember, this is the soaked chickpeas, and I've blended it up smoothly with some water. Now into the ground chana, I'm going to be going in with some ground geera, and this is the roasted ground version. I'm also going to be going in with some turmeric, also known as dye in Guyana. I'm also going to be going in with my baking powder. Whenever you make bara, baking powder is a must so it can get nice and fluffy. It plays together with that yeast, and both of them give that bara that soft fluffiness that you need. Now this part is optional, but I'm going to be going in with some green seasoning. Everything I make basically has a little bit of green seasoning or some ground seasoning in it, and it's just my preference. I like to cook with it, but if you don't want to, you don't have to add it. Now what is a must is a lot of garlic and pepper that I have ground very well, and I'm adding that in. You can make these as spicy or not as spicy as you want, but more pepper is the better. Now once you have added all of your ingredients into the bowl, you're going to mix everything up very well until everything is well combined. And at this point, I'm going to be going in with my all-purpose flour, and I'm using regular unbleached all-purpose flour. Today, you guys are always asking me what kind of flour that I use, and that's exactly what I'm using. I'm usually using the MacArthur unbleached all-purpose flour. You can use many other brands of flour, whatever you have on hand. It will make a delicious and tasty bara. And at this point, we're going to be going in with a little bit of yeast. This right here is going to give it that nice fluffiness and stretchiness that we know bara to have. And once you get all of that flour in there, you're going to go in with some very clean hands, and you're going to mix everything up very well until the flour is combined with all of those wet ingredients. And you're going to see that I'm going in with just a little bit of warm water. That is so this way the flour can dissolve with all of the wet ingredients even more. And at this point, I'm also going to be going in with some freshly chopped scallions or green onions, and I'm also going to go in with some freshly chopped spinach. If you only had frozen spinach on hand, feel free to use that. That works just as well. And just keep on mixing everything until everything is well combined. And you're seeing that every once in a while, I'm going in with a couple drops of water just to bring everything together. Remember, you do not want this dough too soft, because when it's too soft, it soaks up so much oil. And if you make it too hard, it tends to be a little too dense and dryish after it's done cooking. So make sure you keep on mixing it. You just want a slightly sticky dough. You do not want something that is crazy wet like a pancake batter. And once everything is mixed properly, you're going to start to beat this bara. Whenever we make bara, we have to beat it so this way we can add some air into the dough, and they're not dense and they're really nice and fluffy. So I'm going to keep on slapping it and beating it for about 1 to 2 minutes, or until it softens up a bit and it's nice and stretchy. And once you finish mixing your bara dough, you're going to go ahead and cover it, and you're going to leave it in a cool, warm place for about an hour to 2 hours, or until it starts to puff up a little bit. So it's been about an hour and a half, and as you all can see, my bara has raised nicely. If you look on the side of the bowl, you're going to see little fine bubbles floating within the bara, and that's exactly what you want. You want it to be fluffy just like this. So we're going to get into the frying process now. I have a pot of oil heating up on a medium to medium high heat. Remember, you don't want it too low, or else it's going to suck up a lot of oil, and you don't want it too high, or else it's going to burn on the outside and they're not going to cook on the inside. So I have a little tester piece that I added in, and the oil is nice and hot. So at this point, I'm going to form my baras. I have a little bit of oil on standby. I'm oiling my fingers and greasing them very well. And then I'm going to go ahead and pick up a little portion of my bara dough and spread it out in between my fingers. And once I do that, I'm going to drop it into that hot oil. Some people will use water when they're making their bara. However, the water does not mix with the oil, and when you add it in, it starts to pitch up a lot sometimes, and that can be very dangerous. So if you're a beginner in the kitchen and you're not very well versed with working with frying, definitely give the oil a try to grease your fingers. And after about 30 seconds on one side, you should see that that bara is nice and golden brown on the other side, and you can begin to flip it. I will mention that the first batch that you usually cook will not have the exact color that you want, just because the oil is still equilibrating itself. But give it till the next batch and I promise you're going to get the perfect color every time. Just make sure you regulate that heat very, very well. So my bara is all golden brown all over and it's nice and crispy. This is exactly what we want. So I'm going to drain them and I'm going to put them in a bowl that I've lined with some paper towels to drain off some of that excess oil. And here I am just finishing frying the rest of my batches of my bara. Like I said, just grab some oil, grease your fingers, grab little portions of that dough, spread them out in between your fingers and drop them into that hot oil. As soon as you drop them into that oil, they should start to get nice and golden brown. They should start to puff up immediately, and then you can go ahead and flip when they're nice and brown and keep on cooking till they're brown all over. Let me tell you guys how delicious these baras were. Bara was probably one of my favorite snacks growing up. My grandmother would make it all the time for us, and her bara is always crispy on the outside, fluffy on the inside, and it's always packed with flavor. One pet peeve for me is when people make bara and there's no garlic and there's no pepper inside. It truly, truly needs to have that nice flavor. So these were perfect. They were seasoned very well and honestly fried to perfection. So I hope you all give it a try. Please go ahead and make it for some families, for some friends, or if you just want a little snack at home. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, please. Subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed yet, and drop those comments down below and let me know what I should be making next on Matthew's Guyanese Cooking. I'll see you all again very soon. Bye everyone.